So, welcome guys, welcome to Mithun Tech Training, and today we are going to discuss on Kubernetes architecture on a very high level, and then we are going to try to install the Kubernetes. Okay, so let us see how we can leverage the power of Kubernetes. So this is just again second iteration where we are trying to understand why we need Kubernetes. So previously discussing Kubernetes, we have done like Docker Compose. We try to build an image using the Docker Compose, or we try to build an application, right? Multi container, or right. So where we were using two images with the Docker Compose. So what will happen? It will be not sufficient to manage big application where we are managing big application. It is having three images where you have to manage three images, right? And application scaling, and if something happens you have to do troubleshooting. But Kubernetes, it's not like that. Kubernetes will help you solve many issues like auto scaling, auto self healing. It has the self healing capacity. So we are going to discover that as well as we go, right? So Kubernetes works on master and node architecture. Okay, it's not that you need minimum two nodes, or you can also install Kubernetes master and cluster in the same EC2 instance, but that doesn't make any sense. But in organization they will have multiple Kubernetes master and multiple nodes. Because why we are having two master? Because if one of the master goes down, then easily another will take into the picture. So as you can see here, master will consist of 1 2 3 4 main components. Okay, so API server is the main guy who is receiving all the inputs from the developers or from the kubectl command to, right, and it will store the value or store the information in the etcd. Etcd is the brain of the Kubernetes cluster, and then these components are managed by controller manager. Then the controller manager will tell the scheduler to run the pods. Okay, and this scheduler, based on the affinity, it is going to run the pods. It may also run the pods on master, or it may run on the other two worker nodes. If you have one worker node, it is going to run. So this scheduler, it will talk to the this guy kubelet. So kubelet is the service which runs on the where, on the worker nodes. So this guy is responsible for talking to the, there is a one more called as C advisor, using which it will schedule the pods. Okay, and kube proxy is the service through which there is a network. So pod to pod communication will happen. You getting the concept? So you will get so many diagrams when it comes to the Kubernetes architecture. So as you can see, this is the master and these are the worker nodes. So kubelet, so container, CRI means container runtime engine, or uh, that is container runtime. Okay, CRI. So you can some people would like to have the Docker, or some people will use container D. So that is similar to Docker. Okay, but that is not the discussion for us now. So what we are going to do? So first we are going to install this. Okay, so first let us start. So I have taken this document. Okay, I will share this with you as well. So first we, you need a container runtime. Okay, please remember, whenever you install a container runtime, or before installing the Kubernetes cluster, you need a container runtime. Why? Because Kubernetes needs a CRA compatible container runtime to start and run your containers. So previously, if you notice, we used to install the Docker daemon and we used to tell the Docker daemon to run the pods. But here, we are not going to run the pods. We just tell the Kubernetes cluster. So Kubernetes cluster will run the pods for you or containers for you. But it will not run the containers directly. It will run inside the pod. Okay. So we'll do that. Okay. So first what we are going to do, we will install container using Docker apt repository, and for that we need some of the dependencies, right? So first let me log into my AWS console and see. So installation will be only one time activity, or else sometimes the installation will already present, or some people would like to install on managed services. Okay, managed services means we don't get to launch the EC2 instance in the backend. AWS itself, they will launch the EC2 instance. We just need to manage the EKS cluster. Okay, so but for now, as a first approach, we are going to install on our own on the EC2. Okay, so first I am going to install the master. So I am going to take the Ubuntu. Okay, because apt, so that means I am going to make use of the Ubuntu. Okay, so I am going to name it as K8s cluster. I am going to select the Ubuntu, and I am going to select the latest version. Okay, in case of any issues we can troubleshoot later. Okay, and now I am going to take minimum 4 GB of RAM. Okay, and I'm going to select the key pair. Okay, any key pair if you want you can select, and for now I am going to select only SSH port, and 8 GB is more than sufficient, and I'm going to hit launch. Yes, so our server is ready, it's coming up, so let it come up for few minutes. I think it is taking time, let us wait. So search, let us study the commands until that comes up. Okay, so the command first one is going to install update the your operating system, and then it is going to install the CA certificates, curl package, GNUPG package, and LSB release packages. Okay, then next it is going to copy the, it's going to create a directory called this, and they are going to download the this one key rings inside this, and then we are going to add the repository. So why we are adding this? So that we install the Kubernetes. Now why it is taking so much? Okay, now it is on the running state. Let me copy, and I'm going to exit. I'm going to open a new bash because I think, yeah, so I'm going to my home directory, and I'm going to the directory where I have installed the, I mean downloaded the key pair. So yes, I'm going to select this. Yes, so now let us go back to this. Yeah, so apt update we can do. I'm going to copy the next. So sudo apt update -y, right? Yes, now I'm going to install the this one. What is this? I think it is not taken properly. So what we can do is, let me try to modify this because it has taken lot of spaces. Okay, So let me try this now. Yes, now it is working perfectly. See, as you can see now, it has installed CA certificates, curl, GNUPG, LSB release. So what this command will do is, this backspace, it will allow you to add n number of packages in one after the other. Okay, it's like a escape character. Okay, you can give like this. It is equivalent to running like this. Let me show you, because some people may confuse why it is. It is no rocket science. It is like giving like this: CA certificates, curl, then GNUPG, then LSB. Yeah, it is like giving like this. Okay, if you don't trust me, just copy and paste again. I have already installed, so this is not going to work. See, so you can give like this, or you can make use of escape character. Okay, well done. So next, first step is completed. Now we are going to add the repositories GPG key. So make directory like this. So sudo keyrings, that's it. And then we are going to use the curl command, which we just installed, right? So we are going to use the curl command, and we have added the keyrings. Now again we are making use of this. Okay, so this may not work because it is having lot of space. So let us bring it here and try to so now let me copy. Yes, so it's complete. Just a second. Yes, now we are going to again update. Okay, and after that we are going to install the container D. So sudo apt update. Okay, and then so now we have installed the container D, which is similar to Docker daemon. Okay, but we are not going to use the container D directly. So now let us check the container D status. It is working fine or not. We should get the output like this. So now let us see. Yes, it is working fine, isn't it? Running since Tuesday, active. Okay, right? Fine. Okay. Now next is we are going to use the sudo container D config default to this config.toml. So let us do this. We need to do some configuration changes. What is this? Okay, I need to use sudo container D config default. Okay, why it is not taking? Okay, let me run as root. Container D config default. Yeah, so this is the default, right? So I'm going to use to, yeah, so these many configuration will be there. Okay, so copy this. Okay, now let us try to see this. Okay, so in this we are going to change this line system DC group, then system DC group to true. If it is false, then we are going to change it to true, and then we are going to restart the service. Okay, we need to search for the string. So copy this and go to /etc container d config.toml, and how to search, just search like this. Yeah, so if you can see here, it is into false, so we have to change it to true. Okay, so why we are doing this modification? Because it will help us to full support the systemd C group management. Without this option, Kubernetes system containers will periodically restart themselves. So if we have this as false, it will be keep on restarting. So we are going to now start the restart the service. Yes, so now what we are going to do, we are going to use the curl, and again we are going to download the package binary to install the kubeadm, kubectl and kubelet. So kubeadm is the utility which is going to initialize the cluster, and kubelet is the one what it is going to run the pods for us. Okay, and kubectl is the kubectl command through which we are going to manage the Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so first let us do this. Yes, we have added the keyring, and then we are using the Kubernetes packages. We added already. Okay, yes, now we are going to update again, and then to install the package. So apt update -y, it's not required. What is this? Public key is not available. What is this? Is okay. We'll see later. Okay. Yeah. And this command we are holding so that automatically updation should not happen. Oh, sorry. I need to install this, right? Any mistake I have done one more time. Let me do this. And then the following public is not available. Okay, we'll see public key is required or not. Then we are going to install this. Okay. What is this? There is a snap with that name. Why it is happening like this? I encountered an error. Let me just see. The widget is not. Let me just check. Mm, which one we are using? Let me just check here, because this is. Let me add this one. Okay, now let us try to install this. Yeah, so that was because of the URL mismatch. Okay, so sometimes it may happen. So we need to troubleshoot like this on the Google. Okay, and this command what it will do, it will, now let me check this. See, for example, kubectl version. If you see here, customize version, okay, and hyphen version. Yeah, so now we are getting the client version as 1.28. This is the latest version, guys. Okay, and you are getting the error that we will fix it later because networking is not yet set up. Okay, so this is the latest version. Okay, and as you can see, kubeadm will set up the cluster, but we are going to pass any command using the kubectl or kubectl. Okay, now comes to the main. So this is already off. Okay, so we don't have any swap space enabled, but still we can cross check. Okay, so if you can see, if you go to the /etc/fs tab, so as you can see there is no swap. Okay, so swap of -a for safer side we can do this. Now we are going to use the we are going to load the this kernel module for, then we are going to add it in the Kubernetes modules. Okay, and then we are going to create the cluster. So this is the main thing. So all these steps were just a preliminary. Okay, I will try to document this, and whatever we have done I will try to write a gist for this. Okay, now it is up to you. If you want, you can choose your pod network as some other things also, but let us, for simplicity, let us follow the documents. What is this? Okay, system service, let me just check. I think I am getting some error. Service container D status, restart. Okay, but why it is still failing red? It says fatal error. Aha. It says error execution phase pre-flight. Some fatal errors occurred. Error, you need to have proc sysnet IPv4 IP4 contents are not set to when. Okay. So we are going to do some modification. Okay. Let me see here. Did we miss anything prerequisite? Let me check. Yeah, that also will be there. We are going to use again Google. No issues with that. So yeah. See, we have to run this kubeadm reset, and now we need to set with one. Okay, let us do that if it is work. First, let us see what is the value here. Let us cat this. What is the value it is saying? It is 0, so it should be set to 1. Okay, so I'm going to set this. So kubeadm reset. Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to insert. Then I'm going to run this again. So kubeadm init pod network. and this, right? Excellent. So we forgot to add this one and now it is working. So now in the backend, it is going to create the cluster. So cluster means it will have what? These components, guys. We discussed, right? These guys. It will create. Uh, Let me go back. So these etcd, API server, controller manager, scheduler, all those things it will create. And that is going to create as a container only. But with this container will be inside the pods. Super. As you can see here. Now everything is configured now. Now to add any cluster, you need to join using the this 6443 and token. You getting the concept? So now this is a master, but master also has all the component like kubelet, because sometimes in master node also you can run the container. You getting the concept? So coming back to the this guy, we had done all these things step. Yeah, this is also done. Yeah. So now what we are going to do, we have to prepare our kube configuration file, and same thing is told by here. See, make a directory. To start, your Kubernetes control plane has initialized successfully. To start using your cluster, you need to run the following as a regular user. Okay, getting the concept. So we are going to make a directory. Every step is given here only. So just copy and paste. So it is going to make a directory like this. Okay, so what is echo dollar home? Let us do that. Root. So it has created under root dot cube. Okay. Now again come back. What is the next step? We need to copy the all the configuration file to our home directory. Okay. So now let us do it. Then we are going to change this ownership. Now let us go back. So if it vim the config file, so these are all the clusters. So these are all the key, and this is having the users Kubernetes admin. So by default it has created the admin. You getting the concept? So don't mess up with this file, okay? And once we have done it, you have to this one. So if now let me try to run the kubectl command. So kubectl get, okay, now let me try to run version. Now I'm not getting that error. Your local host is trying to refuse the connection, isn't it? So I'm not getting that error. So kubectl version, and I'm trying to run now get pods. So it says no resource found in the default namespace. Guys, remember Kubernetes itself is little complex. So you need to spend lot of time. So namespace means it will have like different roles. We'll talk about namespace little later. Okay. So if you do a, now it will say, so by default it will have a default namespace and it will have kube system. See, kube system, kube system. So what and all it is created? It is saying etcd. So this is the brain of the Kubernetes cluster. This is the API server. It is like a receptionist, controller manager, kube proxy, and kube scheduler. Now, if you see here, there are two things here, core DNS and one and core DNS this one. So this is, it is a pending. All the others are running. This is because we have not yet configured one last step for networking. So let us do that. That is again mentioned in this document. See, Kubernetes required a pod networking add-on to exist in your cluster before worker nodes begin operating normally. Okay, so we are going to use the flannel, that is the networking component. Okay, so we are going to apply this YAML. Okay, so now let us try to add this step. See, so it created a flannel. So now if you run, so now see what is happening. So it is having kube flannel and one running, it created. Okay, and you can also run kubectl get pods hyphen capital A, or you can also run this, all the namespaces. Now if you remember, after I added this kube flannel, now all the this were container creating. Earlier it was pending. After I added the kube flannel, the CNI network, it started creating the container. Now our cluster is set up. You're getting the concept, right? Now let us try to run our first pod. Okay. So now I will try to cubes. I think what I will do, I am going to create an alias. Okay, okay, we'll do that later. Who is that joining now? Manju. Okay, you go through the recording, Manju. You have missed the installation part. Okay, now kubectl get pods. There is nothing on the namespace. Namespace means it is like your project. Suppose you joined on the project IBM. So you create IBM project namespace as IBM and you create cluster there. So that is called the namespace. As we don't have anything as of now. So as you can see, so these are the components. Kube flannel, there will be two core DNS and these are the components. Now let us try to run our kubectl run. What is the name? My first pod hyphen hyphen image is equal to nginx. Now let us see. So what I'm trying to do, so this is the command kubectl run my first pod. This is like pod name. You can give anything. You can give your name also. And this is very important. Hyphen hyphen image is equal to nginx. So it says pod forward slash my first pod created. Now see, so it got created in the default namespace. Please remember, my friends, if you don't specify any namespace, it is going to create in the default namespace. For this, you don't need to add hyphen a because in the default space, it is still creating pending. If you notice here, what is happening? It is says pending, pending, pending. Why it is pending? Why it is pending? Can anyone guess why it is pending? Why it is not creating any pod? Because what has happened is in the master by default there will not be affinity. So let me check that for you. Check node affinity. There are so many commands you need to get familiar with. Okay. So if you do this kubectl get nodes and the show labels, you will face this. See what is happening here. So we have only one control plane now and we have created just 8 minutes 38 seconds and this is the control plane. See the parameters. This is the control plane is equal to node Kubernetes IO exclude from external load balancers. Okay, and affinity, and this is not the command. Just a second. Node affinity examples and preference. Let me use this. check node affinity, sorry, not node affinity, pod affinity. Okay, check pod affinity, or else what we'll do, check taint on nodes. Okay, yeah. So to get the list of taint node means, so by default what will happen, taint is that concept through which parts will not get scheduled. Even if you check now, if you see get parts, it is said it is pending only because it is not able to find, we don't have any other worker node, correct? And there will be taunt applied, taint, sorry, not taunt, there will be taint applied. So let me copy this. See, kubectl get nodes hyphen o go template range with node name items. So we are trying to get this. So now let me see whether it will try print anything. Let me just see. Yeah, we'll use this. What is happening? Yeah, see here. So this is the, what it says? It says no schedule. So as the master is having the taint applied, so that is the reason it will not work. Now see what will happen. Now I am going to remove the taint. See, this command will do this. So kubectl taint node Ubuntu 22 node role Kubernetes node schedule minus, in this minus, if you do it will say tainted. Okay, so now let me do that. Copy this command. So kubectl get nodes. Okay, and let me try to do this. I think, yeah, you have to replace your Ubuntu 2022 by this name. Okay, see, you are getting the output as untainted. Now if you do kubectl get pods, now it is running. You're getting the concept. So kubectl, if you describe pod, you can go with pod or po also, it will work. So if you do describe pod, so now this is the thing. So it is running on the IP. Okay, if now we will try to curl, see, it is working fine. This is the IP, right? I got the IP. Now I am trying to explain it to you. This Nginx is running perfectly fine. Okay, now like this you can run n number of pods. Getting the concept? Okay. Getting the concept. Now how to delete the pod? So kubectl delete pod and pod name. Oh sorry, pod name you have to give. So kubectl delete pod. So it will delete the pod. And if you do kubectl get pods, nothing. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop it here because we have covered so much and installation itself is complex. So what I will do, I'll try to prepare a nice decent document by tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll try to connect by 10 a.m. Okay, is it clear? Any doubts so far? Any doubts, please? Manju, you joined late, so better you go through the recording today itself. Today we have just done the installation,
Okay.
nothing else, and we just ran a simple this one. If you follow my video, you can easily install. Okay, clear? Yes or no? History. No doubt, guys. Hello. Okay, then I will understand that people are not having any doubts. Yeah, go on. Anybody?